If you grew up in the 1980s, television wasn't just entertainment, it was an event. There was no Netflix, no YouTube, no streaming. If you missed an episode, you might never see it again. Everyone remembers the Giants, Cheers, The A-Team, Knight Rider, Miami Vice. Those shows never really disappeared. But what about the shows that were huge in their day, shows kids talked about at school? Shows that had action figures, lunchboxes, posters, and fan clubs, yet somehow faded almost completely from public memory? Today we're counting down 10 forgotten TV shows from the 1980s that only true Gen X viewers are likely to remember. Some lasted just a few episodes. Others ran for years and pulled in millions of viewers every week. Yet somehow, time left them behind. As we go through the list, keep score and see how many you actually remember. And stick around until number 1, because it was once one of the biggest merchandising sensations of the decade. Let's jump into the nostalgia machine. Misfits of Science, 1985-1986. Years before Marvel dominated Hollywood and long before superhero teams filled television schedules, NBC tried something surprisingly similar. Misfits of Science followed a group of young people with unusual abilities brought together by a scientist. One could shrink to miniature size. Another possessed telekinetic powers. Another generated electricity from his body. The show mixed science fiction, comedy, and action in a way that felt very different from anything else on television at the time. One reason the series remains noteworthy today is because it featured a young Courtney Cox years before she became a global superstar on Friends. Although it lasted only one season, the network promoted it heavily, and many kids thought it was one of the coolest concepts on TV. Looking back now, it feels like a strange preview of the superhero ensemble shows that would become popular decades later. If you remember watching this on a Friday night in 1985, congratulations, you've unlocked a very specific Gen X memory. Automan, 1983-1984. In the early 1980s, Tron had convinced Hollywood that computer-generated worlds were the future. Television wanted a piece of that excitement. Enter Automan. The story followed a police computer programmer who accidentally creates a holographic crime-fighting hero made entirely of digital light. Automan could generate vehicles out of thin air, travel through computer systems, and perform impossible stunts. The show's signature effect was a glowing sports car that could make impossibly sharp right-angle turns. At the time, those effects looked incredibly futuristic. Today they look charmingly dated, but that's part of the appeal. The show lasted only 13 episodes, but for kids fascinated by computers and video games, Automan felt like something straight out of the future. It's one of those shows that people either remember instantly or have absolutely no memory of whatsoever. Manimal, 1983. Some television concepts sound unbelievable even before they're made. Manimal was one of them. The premise was simple. Dr. Jonathan Chase possessed a mysterious ability that allowed him to transform into any animal he chose. Need to spy on criminals? Become a hawk. Need to chase a suspect? Become a panther. Need to escape danger? Pick another animal. NBC expected the series to be a major hit and spent a fortune promoting it. Unfortunately, the transformation effects were expensive, the production costs were enormous, and ratings quickly declined. The show was canceled after only 8 episodes. But despite its short run, Manimal became legendary among television fans because of how bizarre and ambitious it was. Even today, mention the title to a Gen X viewer and watch their face light up with recognition. V, the series. 1984-1985. The original V miniseries was one of the biggest television events of the decade. Millions tuned in to watch seemingly friendly aliens arrive on Earth, only to discover they were actually reptilian invaders hiding beneath human skin. After the massive success of the miniseries, NBC launched a weekly continuation called V, the series. For science fiction fans, this felt like must-watch television. The Resistance continued fighting the Visitors while uncovering new secrets and conspiracies. Unfortunately, budget limitations made it difficult to maintain the scale of the original production. Ratings gradually slipped, and the series ended after one season. Still, for viewers who watched it unfold week after week, it remains one of the defining sci-fi memories of the mid-1980s. Hunter 1984-1991. Hunter actually ran for 7 seasons, which makes it even stranger that it's barely remembered today. A tough LA cop and his partner took down criminals every week in classic 80s buddy cop style. It was a ratings hit for NBC for years. What made Hunter stand out was its action. Nearly every episode featured high-speed car chases, shootouts, undercover operations, and dramatic confrontations. Back then, viewers tuned in every week, knowing they'd get plenty of excitement. The show also arrived during a golden age of television crime dramas, competing with popular series like Miami Vice. While Miami Vice became famous for its fashion and soundtrack, Hunter focused on gritty street-level police work and straightforward action. But unlike Magnum P.I. or Miami Vice, it never got the syndication love that kept other shows alive in reruns, so an entire show that ran nearly a decade just faded. Airwolf 1984-1987. A high-tech, nearly indestructible military helicopter flown by a brooding pilot working for a secret government agency. It was basically Knight Rider, but with a helicopter instead of a car, and it was genuinely massive when it premiered. What really made the show special was Airwolf itself. The helicopter wasn't just a vehicle, it was the star of the show. Equipped with advanced weapons, incredible speed, and futuristic technology, it felt like something straight out of a science fiction movie. For many kids in the 1980s, Airwolf was the ultimate dream machine. Children imagined piloting the helicopter on secret missions, saving the world, and outmaneuvering enemy aircraft. Toy versions flew off store shelves, and the show's iconic theme music became instantly recognizable. Toy helicopters, lunchboxes, the whole deal. But once it left the air, it never got the cultural staying power of its car-based cousin. Perfect Strangers 1986-1993. Okay, hear us out. Balky and Larry were everywhere in the late 80s. Dance of Joy was a cultural catchphrase. The show ran for 8 seasons and spawned a spin-off, Family Matters, which became way more famous than its parent show. Much of the show's popularity came from the chemistry between the two leads. Balky's innocent misunderstandings of American culture led to countless hilarious situations, while Larry constantly found himself dragged into one disaster after another. The famous Dance of Joy became one of television's most memorable recurring jokes. Fans repeated it at school, at work, and even at family gatherings. For a brief period, almost everyone seemed to know exactly what it was. That's the twist here. The spin-off eclipsed the original so completely that most people today don't even realize Perfect Strangers came first. Punky Brewster, 1984-1988. A massive hit for NBC, Punky Brewster made Soleil Moon Frye a household name and even spawned an animated spin-off series. What made the show special was Punky herself. She was energetic, optimistic, independent, and completely different from most child characters on television at the time. Kids connected with her because she felt real rather than perfect. The series also wasn't afraid to tackle serious issues. While it delivered plenty of laughs and heartwarming moments, it also explored topics that many family sitcoms avoided, helping young viewers understand difficult situations in an accessible way. It tackled surprisingly heavy topics for a kids' show, including a now famous episode about a child getting trapped in an abandoned refrigerator, which actually led to real child safety awareness. Huge impact. Massive at the time, but ask a room of 20-somethings today, and you'll get nothing but confused looks. Mr. Belvedere, 1985-1990. An English butler moves in with an American family, and chaos ensues. Simple premise, massive ratings, it ran for 6 seasons on ABC. One reason viewers loved the show was its warm family atmosphere. During the 1980s, families often gathered together in front of a single television set, making weekly sitcoms a shared experience. Mr. Belvedere fit perfectly into that tradition. And then there was the theme song. For viewers who grew up during the era, hearing even a few seconds of it instantly brings back memories of sitting down after dinner and watching television with family. The show balanced humor with heartfelt family moments, making it comfort food television for millions of households. It's a perfect example of a show that was comfort food TV for millions of households weekly, and then just evaporated from cultural memory the moment it ended. She-Ra, Princess of Power, 1985-1987. Before modern animated heroines became common, there was She-Ra. A spin-off of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, She-Ra quickly became a phenomenon in her own right. The series combined fantasy, adventure, magic, and memorable characters while introducing a powerful female hero to Saturday morning television. Toy stores were packed with She-Ra merchandise. Action figures, castles, playsets, costumes, you name it. For countless children, especially young girls, She-Ra wasn't simply another cartoon. She was their hero. Yet despite its enormous popularity during the 1980s, the show rarely receives the same nostalgic attention as He-Man. That's what makes it the perfect #1 entry on this list. A show that once dominated toy aisles and television screens across North America has become little more than a footnote in pop culture history. And that's exactly why we're remembering it today. So, how many of these shows did you actually remember? Were you surprised by any of them? Did one instantly transport you back to your childhood living room? And perhaps more importantly, which forgotten 80s show did we leave out? The decade was packed with strange experiments, ambitious sci-fi concepts, family sitcoms, and cartoons that seemed huge at the time, but slowly disappeared from mainstream memory. Drop your picks in the comments below. If you'd like to see part 2 featuring 10 more forgotten 80s TV shows, hit that like button and let me know. And if you're new here, subscribe for more nostalgia deep dives into the movies, TV shows, toys, and pop culture moments that defined a generation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.